Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 1130. Hello, it's Mike Matthews broadcasting from Cafe Anyway, located somewhere in Podcastro Valley, Mont. Today we hear from Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, John Deere the engineer, and we got some cool segment. We might have the MARKO Minute, we might have the Daily Haley, Jarrell Neme, we might have all those things. It's all on the way, so don't Mike's Daily Podcast touch that dial, as they used to say in the old days, but now it's all about playing me through your Mike's Daily Podcast phone. Speaking of which, I just got a new phone last night, which meant I had to stay up and figure that thing out, but it's tight because it's not an iPhone, and that means it's a whole new world, and I was practically throwing it outside of my window. And then if I did, it would probably hit a girl who's walking around Mike's Daily Podcast doing the Pokemon Go. Gosh, that thing is so huge. Wish I had stocks Mike's in it, though. Daily It seems podcast to have proliferated the world. Yeah! Okay, it was released on Thursday. By Monday night, I'm seeing everybody walking around with it. Everybody. I was at a park, all these people holding up their cell phones, their smartphones, looking around trying to find the Pokemon characters. That's insane. They say it is because most of the participants are 20-somethings, 30-somethings. They grew up with it. They grew up with the first wave of Pokemon, with the little, what were those things? Those little pieces of paper and whatnot? Or am I thinking of something else? My mom and I were discussing it last night, and she used to own a video store in the 80s and 90s, and she said, yeah, I remember selling that stuff. And now it's all, that generation has grown up. I think that if I may be so bold as to make some commentary on my very own podcast, I would like to say that this is a demonstration of how the millennials are in the process of taking the baton away from us Gen Xers. Because remember, Gen Xers had this huge economic, financial, we took over. You knew it when you were watching television. And every single commercial had a song from the 80s. You're like, oh yeah, this is targeted towards Gen Xers. Oh, look who just walked in. Speaking of a Gen Xer. Mike Matthews, I am so not a Gen Xer. I'm a millennial. You're a millennial? Yeah, Mike Matthews. You've been a millennial for like 20 years. That's not possible. I know, Mike Matthews. That's strange, isn't it? Yeah. So this is showing the economic impact that millennials have, because this is something they grew up with, and now it's the biggest thing. The biggest thing. Google's made money off of this because they own a part of Pokemon. Nintendo's made money. It's huge. Hugo, if you will. Or Hugo Weaving. Matrix. Something else as millennials grew up with. Maybe it's time for a Matrix Part 4, since the Part 2 and 3 apparently sucked. I don't know. I couldn't sit through them. I liked the first one, but by the end of it, I was wrecked. I'm like, wow. Guy dodging bullets, that's insane. Look who else just walked in. Oh, Mike, it's Floyd the Floorman! And this is John Deere the engineer. Dodging bullets is virtually impossible. Not if you're like super fast and your brain can control the Matrix. That's true, I stand corrected. Yeah, so speaking of matrices, I'm trying to get used to my new Droid phone. Speaking of Google, I've been... the first smartphone I had was an iPhone. Apple. And so I'm used to that whole world with the iPhone and whatnot. And I see now I've got a new Samsung, which I got through 99 cents through Cricket Wireless. Isn't that fantastic? And I'm trying to get used to it. Some little differences. But I think I'm starting to get the hang of it. Anyway, I spent like 2.5 hours on it last night, which your response should be, Mike, is that all? Most people, when they get a smartphone, take days to figure it out. But yeah, I still got a long ways to go. I needed to get my Stitcher app on there so I could listen to podcasts, which I listened to some fascinating ones today. What was it? News story I heard? I was listening to a lecture, C-SPAN uploads these lectures that you can listen to. It was a woman teaching about the suffrage movement. Did you know in the 1870s that women could vote in Utah, but they voted to pass legislation to make, I was going to say polyamorous, polygamy. Make it so that would be legal. And when the rest of the country saw that women were voting for that kind of outlandish legislation in favor of it, they said, no, women shouldn't be able to vote. They lost their privileges. They're out of here. So it put the women's suffrage movement back years. And that Susan B. Anthony, who was once on a coin, the 50-cent piece, she was arrested for many things, but one of them was for voting. They said that, if you illegally voted, that was as bad. You were tampering with the voting pool, and you were causing other people's votes not to matter. So she was brought to trial, and the judge laid down his verdict that she was guilty. He had already written out what he was going to say before the trial even began. So it didn't even matter what the lawyers had to say. And then Susan B. Anthony, when she had her moment to talk, she got up and spoke. So long, the judge told her to sit down. And she did not. And she had much more to say. And specifically about the judge and what an idiot he was, which he was. But that's neither here nor there. Oh, yeah, that's something. Politicians on the right, white old people primarily, are picking on Ruth Bader Ginsburg. They're picking on an old woman. Yeah, that's classy. That's not ageist. That's not jerky. Sexist. Jerks. Donald Trump tweeting, "She's wacko." Mitch McConnell, "How dare she say those things she said about Donald Trump." Crazy. And the other thing I wanted to say was I had lunch yesterday. I was using a gift certificate that I got from a job that I have in radio, that this restaurant advertises on this radio station. So they gave me some little gift certificates at Christmas. So I'm finally trying to use them all up before they expire. And actually, they never expire. I was just hungry. And I sit down in this restaurant, and this restaurant is basically empty. And I'm all alone sitting in this one spot. Then this guy who's bald walks in, and he's like dressed kind of like I am, and I'm bald. And the maitre d' asks him, "Where would you like to sit?" And he goes, and they're kind of walking along, and he goes, "There." And he sits him down like practically right next to me. So this whole time, first off, I'm eating alone, which is a whole set of uncomfortableness, because you're alone and you're thinking the whole world's looking at you like, oh, what a pathetic guy, he's eating alone. Lonely man. But then they put a guy that looks exactly like you sitting right next to you, and he's kind of a slob, and, well, I don't know, maybe he's a mirror image of me and I'm a slob, I don't know. But he ordered like clam chowder, and I ordered clam chowder. I ordered it first. And then, and the whole time I'm eating, I'm like, oh, this is uncomfortable. This guy is sitting right next to me. And I'm done eating, and I look over, and then he's gone. Where's that dramatic sound effect now? So that was bizarre. It's almost as if he didn't exist, that he was an image I created in my own mind. How is that even possible? How could I create something that's not there? A character that's not there? Do you guys know? Mike Matthews, that's impossible. Yeah, Mike, that's crazy. You're nuts, Mike. Thank you, John Deere the engineer, and other characters at Cafe Anyway. Speaking of which, if you'd like a special greeting from all the Cafe Anyway characters, all you have to do is go to MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com and donate to the PayPal, or you can just jump onto the Amazon link there at MIKES-DAILY-PODCAST.com. It was Amazon Prime Day yesterday. Not to give them a plug, which I didn't on the last show, so screw them. But if you buy anything on Amazon, by gosh, go through MIKES-DAILY-PODCAST.com first, and that helps us out. There's also all the past podcast pictures. Speaking of which,
And here's today's podcast picture.
Hey, it's a picture of me at Bodega Bay on a typically sunny day in Bodega Bay. No, it's not typically sunny there. It's typically overcast. So you see a picture of that. I'm wearing a British Are Coming t-shirt, which is a t-shirt I got several years ago, but it's kind of funny with the whole Brexit thing, which they're not coming because they're just going to stay on their island because they don't want anybody to be there now because they're like, screw the European Union. We want to tell the world to sod off. And then I was sitting there in this picture. You can see there, MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Beautiful Bodega Bay behind me. Basil the Boxer with me. You know, I wonder if the British have a typical gun that they call the sod-off shotgun. No, that was terrible. Okay, now the segment that I've been promoting all show long, which I have no idea what it is. All right, this is working. It's the Marko Minute is what this segment is.
Yay! Live from the KDOW studios, 12:20 a.m.
Yes, that's where we are. Listen to that radio station. Free plug. Your shirt says the dark side?
So it says, "Come to the dark side. We have beer." It's got a picture of Darth Vader holding up a beer. So yeah.
Oh, where'd you get that?
I found it online somewhere through Facebook. You know, they have those ads for T-shirts for like $24.99, and yeah, I saw that and it's like, you know what? Why not? It looked cool, and I thought I'd order it because, you know, I like Star Wars, I like beer, and Darth Vader's my hero, so I figured, why not?
Are those ads that usually have a really hot, busty woman in them?
No. These just basically just they show you the print of the shirt and say, buy this if you're a Star Wars fan. This is cool, you know. So yeah.
I've like often wondered who that girl is that I see in the hot busty ones.
Right. I always want to know who that is too.
They never say.
No.
And they're like not popular like a Kate Upton or something. They're just this person that gets money for wearing a t-shirt.
A tight t-shirt, yes. Right. Yeah.
So that's an awesome shirt. You know, when you said found it online.
Yeah.
All right, if it was 100 years ago, and we would not probably be talking into microphones because they didn't have, they had like a primitive form of
microphone. It was very primitive back then, yeah.
To say found it online, I would probably think you had it on a clothesline.
That's true, right? It was just back in the day.
But that's neither here nor there,
right,
Marko?
That's right, Mike.
You were at the All-Star game.
I was.
The past 2 days.
Yes, so I'm fresh off. In fact, I just got back in about 7 hours ago. So I'm very tired. I need an IV of Red Bull in each of my arms. Like right now would be a great preference if I had it right now. But yeah.
It's super early.
Yeah, it is for me. And see, that just goes to show you, I don't make any excuses. I don't care if I've been to an All-Star game or an all-night rager. I will show up to work the next morning because you got to do it. I like getting paid.
That's something they do.
Right. But the All-Star game was really fun. I was down in San Diego. My second home, as I like to call it, because that's where I went down to college, and I just love San Diego.
Did you go to San Diego State?
Yes, I did.
I'm
an Aztec, baby. Yeah.
All those little mountains. It's a very hilly place.
Well, I mean, like where the campus is at, yeah, you got that one hill kind of where you go up, but for the most part, I mean, the campus is pretty much, you know, flat for a couple of hills here and there, but and definitely the women there aren't flat either. So you know.
I remember that because I went to a graduation there, and I was like looking around, and there were a lot of bikinis.
Yes,
bikini tops, I should say, and then they would put the graduation hat on there.
Right. Oh yeah, it was awesome. I mean, when I went there, I mean, there was 35,000 students. It could be, I don't know how much there is now, but back then there was 35,000, and like 28,000 were hot women, and it was everywhere you looked, it was like your head was just turning 360 like The Exorcist. It was awesome.
They have really good fish tacos near there.
Yeah, they did. What was it, Rubio's? I think Rubio's was started down there with their fish tacos, and they used to have one right on campus. and or right next to campus, and that one's gone because now they built this whole new Eastern Commons thing, and they got like a Habit Burger in there. You know what I would have done to have a Habit Burger when I went to San Diego State? That would have been awesome. They have a bowling alley in there. I mean, my little cousin, she goes there right now, and I'm just like, you have all these awesome things that I didn't have when I went. So, well, you better freaking enjoy this, man.
Yeah,
for me, enjoy it for me.
That's how I feel about ECSB.
Okay.
I talk to people that are going there now, and they're telling me all this stuff there, and I'm like, oh, that would have been cool. But of course, I mean, any campus that's it's practically right on the beach. Yeah, it is on the beach.
It is, and that was going to be my second choice if I didn't get into San Diego State. It was either that, Santa Barbara, San Diego, or I think it was Long Beach State.
Long Beach State, yeah.
That was my three choices back in the day. So
UC San Diego is practically on the beach.
Yes, this is beautiful La Jolla, which is like the crown jewel of San Diego. I love La Jolla. Everything's awesome about that. Didn't get a chance to visit La Jolla this time around because I was basically literally stuck right at during the All-Star game activities and festivities for these last 2 days. You know, I did the interviewing the players at the Grand Hyatt Hotel, did the Fan Fest, which was like right next door at the convention center, and of course, you know, Petco Park's right across from all that as well. So that's what I did basically all yesterday. Got to go on the field, watched batting practice, saw some media people, like all the guys, people from ESPN, said hi to them. Like Chris Berman, so people know who that guy is. I talked to a couple other people I know, and talked to a couple of players that were there, just, you know, asking them how their experience was, you know, what they were looking forward to in the game, you know, last night and all that. And it was really cool because actually the Mondays when I actually got a chance to interview all the players, they had them in this little ballroom in the Grand Hyatt Hotel. And, you know, they had their own little podium, so you got to go up there, ask them questions, take pictures, not with them, but of them, if you wanted to. And it was really cool. I mean, I never really got a chance to do that before with baseball, and it was really fun.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Any particular player stand out in your head?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I pretty much, you know, catered to all the San Francisco Giants. Buster Posey, I talked to him for a couple minutes. Talked to Madison Bumgarner for a couple of minutes. Then I talked to Johnny Cueto, even though I had to have an interpreter because he just primarily speaks Spanish. I mean, I understand, like, you know, when they're talking Spanish, but I forgot pretty much how to conjugate all my verbs back in the day when I was learning Spanish. So I always feel awkward and kind of shy to ask questions in Spanish because I'm afraid I'm going to screw it up.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad he had an interpreter there because I would have been like, you know, como es jugadora, you know, de favorito in San Francisco Gigantes, you know, I mean, it just would have sounded bad, you know, so I'm glad Cueto had his interpreter there, so to ask him the questions, and then also talked to Brandon Belt. It was his first time as an All-Star with the Giants, and then, you know, I talked to a couple other players like Steven Strasburg of the Washington Nationals because he's a former San Diego State Aztec, and so I just talked to him for a little bit, and I just said, hey, man, from one Aztec to another, I'm all welcome home because he's actually from the San Diego area. He grew up there and went to college there. And what was awesome about him is that coming out of college, you know, he had 100-mile-per-hour fastball that he could throw. And
wow,
yeah, and he was such a really cool, humble guy, you know, young guy, and you know, he was really cool. I talked to a former Giant who's now an All-Star for Cincinnati, so it was quite the experience. You know, I saw a couple friends who were at the Fan Fest and hung out with them for a bit, so it was fun. I had a good time.
Oh my gosh!
And it was only 2 days. Imagine if I could have stayed the whole entire week there.
Oh, sounds like you had a fantastic time. What's Bumgarner like?
He's real down-to-earth, low-key kind of guy. You know, you can ask him a question. He's going to answer it to his best ability. He doesn't really try to do too many cliches like most of the players do. He kind of tells you straight up how he's thinking, what he's feeling. And a lot of times, you know, if it's just like a one-word answer, he'll just be like, nope, yep, nope. So he's real cool and down-to-earth. Buster's kind of the same way. I mean, I actually got him to smile and laugh a little bit because I asked him, like, so what are you looking forward to the most here? Or actually, I take that back. After I asked him that, I asked him, you know, which players were you looking forward to as far as the other All-Stars looking to meet? And he's like, well, you know, I look more forward to, you know, seeing Bumgarner. interact with those guys. He goes, more than I do. And I'm like, oh, okay. He kind of chuckled at that. And, so I got him laughing at that. So,
good.
Yeah, it was cool.
Good job, Marko.
Thanks. Yeah, it was fun.
Tell me about the food.
So here's the thing. Major League Baseball, what they did for all the media is they gave you a meal card. So you can use throughout the concessions, because normally they feed you. They at least give you some kind of a box lunch. I mean, they do that for the playoffs, but this time around, they're like, with so many media coming in, especially internationally, they just gave everybody a meal card, and you had $15 per day on it as their per diem. But, I think that was really cheap of them, as much as they're a $1 billion, dollar corporation, and they can only give the media $15. Do they not know what the concession prices are for just like a hot dog and a soda? That's like more than $15 right there. I had to buy my own drinks.
God.
Yeah. What's up with that, MLB? Come on, man. You're killing me. Yeah, so but they had this really. It was nice about Petco's. They have your regular stands, so you get the cheap nachos, the cheap hot dog. But then they also have specialty stands where I got a tri-tip sandwich, and they stacked it full of tri-tip. They put some barbecue sauce. They gave me these kettle chips. That was really good. They had there's one nacho stand where they put pinto beans, pico de gallo, carne asada, along with this cheese sauce, and that was really good. So I experienced some of the ballpark food fare, and first, I've got the peanuts, the Cracker Jacks.
The what?
Peanuts. Peanuts. In case anyone's,
Because it's baseball, you have to have peanuts.
Exactly. You got to have the peanuts and Cracker Jacks and the popcorn and the cotton candy. I did all that.
Oh, what fun.
Yeah, so it was fun. Just like I said, I had a great time. I hung out with my old college roommate. I stayed with him for a couple of days, and, we went out, got some beers and some dinner a couple nights. So yeah, it was really fun just catching up with him, and like I said, seeing some people I haven't seen in a while. Would have been nice to stay the whole week, so I could have caught up with all my former San Diego State peeps that I met over the years. So yeah, but hey, it is what it is, and I was just happy I got the 2 days.
I had a friend. She was really pretty, but for some reason I got into the friend zone early with her.
I hate that.
But she would, and so every time I'd go to visit her, she'd have a boyfriend, and it sucked. But she would be like, Mike, come on down, because she was going to San Diego State. That's how I got to go to the graduation.
Oh, nice.
And I remember going to that. What's that country bar down there? Oh, there's some country bar I went to with her, and
I don't remember.
I remember drinking Goldschlager.
Yeah, that stuff's evil.
I got so sick off that. The room was spinning.
Yes.
It was bad.
And everyone I've known that's drank that stuff has gotten really bad. They've thrown up. They've gotten the spins, and they really don't remember too much the next morning. So
avoid the stuff. Even if they still make it, I don't know if they even.
I think they still do.
Really?
I haven't seen it, but I believe that someone told me it still exists. You can still buy it. But everyone seems like they're drinking. What is it? The Fireball now? What is that? That cinnamon stuff? I think it's called Fireball. I think that's what everyone. That's like the popular drink that everyone's doing shots of and getting sick and throwing up to. So, yeah, these crazy kids now these days.
What was the radio station you listened to
down in San Diego
when you were going to school?
Well, yeah, there was two. I listened to Rock 105.3. I think it's KIOZ. It was called letters, and then I also listened to KGB. They were the
KGB, that's
Classic Rock.
One.
They were Classic Rock station, yeah. And then, of course, the campus station, KCR, was which I did my shows. I did a sports show and a metal show, too. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
What was the name of your metal show?
Well, because it was at midnight, it was Chaos in the mornings, because my radio name was Damien Chaos. So, yeah.
Did you ever listen to Roger Waters' Radio Chaos?
Yes, I have. It's actually a good album.
Love that album.
It's a really good album.
It's the guy from Pink Floyd who wrote The Wall and everything, and Dark Side of the Moon. And he does this album with Paul Carrack of Mike and the Mechanics and Squeeze. And there's, I don't think Eric Clapton's on that one. He's on the Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking. It's the one he did before that, I think. But it's like the end of the world comes, because this guy, it's very interesting because there's a digital voice guy that talks to Jim Ladd, who used to be on KMET in LA, which was a rock station. And
Right.
I'm Jim Ladd, and now it's time for my show.
he talked with this really nasally voice.
Right.
Yeah. Did a lot of coke or something.
Probably.
Hey, one last question about sports was about the Olympics.
Yes. What about it?
When are they?
Next month.
Oh.
It's in August. It's going to be in Rio de Janeiro. And, if I was an American, as much as I love my country, and no matter how much I was kicking ass at the sport that would be in, I would not go down there. I just wouldn't. There's too much chaos going on down there in Rio right now. When you got the Zika virus with all the mosquitoes biting everybody, and then two. But that's true though. That's a real thought. I mean, did you want to come back with that? I heard that thing's brutal. Anyway, but not only that, but the security is gonna be like non-existent. They've posted photos of they have the policemen and like firefighters that have a sign that they welcome at the airport, the Rio de Janeiro airport. It says "Welcome to Hell" because they're supposedly not going to get paid to secure the Olympics.
Whoa.
So, and then you got a lot of rioting. You got because of the politics that's going on down there, all the poverty. I mean, why? I know why the IOC gave Rio because if you bribe them, that's how you got the Olympics. But that's just such a disaster waiting to happen that I fear for our American athletes and all the world's athletes that are going to be going down to this godforsaken city. I don't know what to say, but I would not participate. In fact, there's some American athletes that aren't participating because of what's going on. I know Jordan Spieth, who's a famous American golfer here, and he just came on the scene a couple of years ago. He's like, I think he's barely 21 right now, but he's not going down. And he's like the fourth best golfer in the world, and he's not going down there because I don't blame the guy from all the reasons I just said.
Yeah.
And I know a couple of the basketball players aren't going down there because of that. So
wow.
Yeah. We'll see.
And what's her name? Maria Sharapova?
Yeah. The tennis player. What about her?
She's not going, but that's because of that drug thing.
Yes. She, but it's too bad because I just love listening to her grunt. She's the greatest female grunter of all time.
She's beautiful too.
She is very beautiful, and then so that's what I'm saying. Combine her looks, her grunting.
There's no. Do you know what I found in? We had to clean out all those sound effects out of that 30,000 series or whatever.
Right.
There was a sound effect of a bunch of female tennis players grunting while they're playing tennis.
And you didn't tell me this.
I deleted it.
What?
Because I thought it was sexist and arousing. But you know what? Hey, wasn't Chicago going to get the Olympics?
Well, that was like the American bid, but they got shot down. So
that would have been good.
I know. Well, I know. And the Americans should have the 2022 World Cup, but they gave that to Qatar, a country that's like 150 degrees during the summertime. So,
and that's all corrupt over there too.
Of course, yeah. So, you gotta love our governing sports bodies internationally, like the IOC and FIFA, the most corrupted.
Let's laugh at them for about 10 seconds.
Right. Actually, I wish I had their money.
Well, we've talked for over 17 minutes. Thank you so much, Marko. That was a long Marko Minute.
Yes, it was. I like the Marko Minutes. All right. Thank you, Mike.
We'll have you back again soon. Woo-hoo! All right. That was an awesome segment. As we go outside a cafe anyway, we're bringing you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley. Next show, it'll be Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, the Brewmaster. And remember, if you do sod off, make sure to buy good sod that's used. That's another great joke. Thank you. Try a local hardware store.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Email Mike now at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!